Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm in the kitchen and I'm not doing orchids. What else do we do in the kitchen? Yeah, it's that time. I haven't done one of these for a long time. I'm not doing anything new, so those that have followed the channel a long time, you've seen me cook this before, probably a couple of times. But it's one of my, what I call cauldron cooks, because basically I cook a vast quantity of a certain type of food and then I portion it up into things like this and store it in the freezer, which means I can just take it out, put it in the microwave, and I've got a nice hot home cooked meal very quickly, 10 minutes. So that's what we're up to today. Do I need my oven glove? I don't think I do today. But what do we need? We definitely need one of these, because anything to do with shop bought sauces has food dyes in it. And if you splash your shirt, it don't tend to come out in the wash so good. So we shall put the apron on. Do you know, look at this. Look at this. When I first bought this apron, I couldn't do it. I couldn't wrap it round and do it up. Now I've got that much spare. So my sunken chest is getting smaller. It's still not as good as I'd like it, but it's coming on. Now, I have to think about what sort of things I eat. So, I need to keep the salt down. I need to stay away from processed foods. I need to try and eat natural things as best I can. I'm aiming at a high protein, low fat, low carbs type diet. Now ideally, if I really want to lose weight quickly, we go for a carnivore diet. So meat, fish, eggs and nothing else basically. That gets a bit boring, doesn't it? But by changing my diet to get rid of most of the carb type food, and you know, including more eggs, definitely loads of fish, and sticking to low fat meat when I have meat, like today we've got low fat mince, 5% fat in a large container, and that'll be split up, so the amount of fat in each portion is very low. The downside of what I'm cooking today is the sauces. They will have more salt in than I would like, but I can't take it out. And I suppose they are a form of processed food, aren't they? It's a, you know, it's a store-bought sauce. But for me to make my own is a faff, and involves probably quite a lot of ingredients. It probably wouldn't taste as good. There's loads of research and science goes into these store-bought sauces to come up with something that's really good. You just have to put up with the fact that, you know, most of the stuff in that line, it's just got too much salt in. Apart from that, it's pretty good stuff. Right, now over here on my notepad we have a couple of jokes written down. We'll start with, I hate people who take drugs. You know, like policemen and customs officers. Working hates those. Tickled me. I only do things that tickle me. If I don't find it amusing, then you don't get it. Oh. Now what I'm fighting to get out of here, which has been tied up very strangely, are my onions. They are in here somewhere. There we go. Now I'm hoping to get away with my small knife and not get the great big one out. I've got my wok. This type of cooking gets done in a wok, distributes the heat nice and evenly. We will have some oil in there. That's just ordinary olive oil. I don't have extra virgin olive oil because it's not so good with the cooking, because it's got a low smoke point, and I only use it for I only use olive oil for cooking. So I don't dress salads or anything like that. If I did that sort of thing, then yes, I would have the extra virgin. But this is just for cooking. So I've got a bag here. Let's move the camera around a bit so you're a bit nearer. So round a bit and possibly down a bit. Yeah, sort of like that, something like that. Now you can see what I'm doing. Now what I'm doing is dead boring. I'm cutting up onions. I know what I might need. Something to wipe my eyes with. But I shall chat away while I'm doing this. So it's like a cooking version of a Sunday chat. Now the latest gardening video that I did, I combined a garden update and a bonsai update in the same video, and that seems to have gone down quite well. There's quite a few people have commented that they like that combination, and if you think about it from a point of view of so I'm just getting these outer skins off because they're a bit not quite as nice. If you think about it, you get a bit of gardening, a bit of garden stuff, then you get a bit of bonsai, not all of them. Then you get a bit more gardening, then you get a bit more bonsai, a few more, and so it goes on. So it's a bit of this and a bit of that, and it breaks it up. And I'd never thought of that before, but you know, if I do a dedicated bonsai video, only the bonsai people will watch it. If I do a gardening video, then probably only the gardening type people will watch it. But if I do a combination of the two in the same video, that one video gets a lot more views because it gets the bonsai people and the gardening people watching it. That's a win-win on my front. Why on earth I hadn't thought of that before, I really don't know. But it doesn't mean to say I will do it often. I don't do the gardening and bonsai videos that often because it's, you know, my primary channel is the orchid channel, and that's the one that, you know, I put the work into and the frequency. So that's how it is. But I do like to keep people posted. There's an awful lot of people that watch my orchid videos that are actually looking at the garden out of the windows, you know, watching the butterflies and things like that. So there is an interest in what's going on outside the door as well as what's going on inside the grow room. So I will keep the gardening and the bonsai channel running along. I enjoy my garden. I don't do all the work. Hannah helps a lot, and will always do so because she really enjoys the gardening. There was a time up until quite recently when helping me with the gardening was the only garden she could do because she lives in a flat, second floor, so she has no garden. But there is a patio area, it's a communal area for some of the other flats, not hers, and the people who've been looking after it and planting up all the tubs with things and making it look really nice are getting on a bit. And Hannah said, is it okay if I sort of help you? And they welcomed her, so she helps out with that. So she's actually got a bit of gardening to do where she lives now, and she's over the moon with that. Here we go. Well, I managed to get one done. Some people say there are ways of stopping your eyes watering when you cut up onions. I've tried all sorts of remedies, and in the end I just put up with it. I watched Jamie Oliver with his eyes streaming, and I sort of think, well, if a professional chef puts up with it, then I'm sure I can. My problem is it will start my nose running, and that's not so good. I've got a feeling that I am suffering a little bit with hay fever this year. First thing in the morning my nose runs. When I get up, get me coffee sorted out, and my nose runs continuously almost for about half an hour, to the point where some mornings I get so annoyed and I think, where on earth is it all coming from? You know, I could wring me hanky out, sort of thing. Where does it all come from? Now this is different because this is influenced. Well, we've done two. What we need to do now to help ease the discomfort of the watering eyes is, let me just do this one like that and get this out of the way. Technically what's going on is when I'm cutting the onion, there is a very, very fine spray given off. Now if you wear glasses you mask quite a bit of it, but some still gets through. But you rinse your hands and rinse your knife, cuts it down a bit. Just a bit. Oh. Right, there's only one more to do, then we get the onions out of the way. This is the only, this meal really, this is the only preparation. Now I'm being very silly here because I've got wet hands, or slightly wet hands, and the handle of the knife is now wet. That makes it slippery, doesn't it? And it's a sharp knife. And the last thing we want is for it to slip and take a finger off. So I shall be extra careful. Right, getting there, nearly done. So I'm just looking out for big bits now. So I cut this one up a bit, a little bit too chunky, but in a chilli, chunky onion doesn't matter actually. It's because when it cooks it shrinks down anyway. So you don't tend to want giant pieces of onion in things, but some chunky bits are okay. Right, so that's the end of the chopping. And what we can now do is rinse the board and rinse the knife. Rinse my hands, and we will now rinse my eyes. And there we are, all done. Right, the rest of it is opening tins and opening jars and pouring stuff in. So that is the worst of it done now. And the bag with the onions in. The first thing we do with that is tie it in a knot. Get out of there, you fumes. Right, so that's the only bit I dislike about cooking this meal, is sorting the onions out. Now I've got to try and get in the pocket and just sort my runny nose out. And then we're up and running. Right, about time we had another joke. Banag, that's bang out of order. That's two. I'm sure some people don't find any of these funny. Oh, here's another one. If you go camping don't go camping in the countryside, because every time there's a murder, it's always in a tent. Right, let's get that heat on, get some cooking done. Right, so I have to back up with the camera a bit now, because everything's going to be going on over on the cooker now. Right, some light on the matter. Put the overhead fan on. I shall need some more of these plastic containers. Always get too many out, we always put them away again afterwards. What else will we need? We'll need one of those for stirring things. I will need a fork, because at the end of this I'm actually going to eat some. I'm not just cooking it to put it in the freezer. This is my evening meal we're doing here. Right, so this is my low fat mix. We don't need that until the onions are cooked, but get it open ready. As the onions start to cook, it softens, and what I do is I go round. This has got an edge to it, although it's made of wood, but basically it will cut large pieces of onion. It will slice them. So any really big bits that I see, I'll just chop in two. But wait till it softens. There's no point in doing it while it's all crunchy, because it leaps out onto the floor. Right, now we've got two of these. These are red kidney beans, and one of these, black beans. So we have 3 tins of beans. They are in water. So the first thing we do is pull the ring and only pull it a little bit. And we pull it a little bit so that we can tip the water out. Now all the beans going down the sink. And obviously the water would water the chilli down and take a lot of the flavour away. I don't want it. So just drain that down the sink. Then we can open it up so that we can get the beans out. Three tins is normally okay. If I was doing this without meat, I would need a lot more beans. But the fact that I've got meat in here, you know, I'm okay with 3 tins. These are, I mean, this is quite a cheap meal to do. The 3 onions were less than £1. The tins of beans are about 50p each. We haven't spent too much yet. The mince is probably the most expensive item, and I forget what that was, and it doesn't say on there, does it? No. I think it's about £4 or £5, something like that. It's not a huge amount. But that's the most expensive element, but then it is the bulk of the chilli, you know. Starting to soften now. Jolly good. Let's get the tins out of the way. Next thing we got to do is get the lids off of the sauce, and sometimes that can be a struggle. 1, 2. Not this time. Sometimes I have to stab the top to release the air pressure, but not this time. So we've got our beans, we've got our sauces. Now I've got a mild chilli sauce, 2 of those, and 1 hot. Now I used to do that the other way round, 2 hot and 1 mild. But the extra spicy food is not doing my stomach so well nowadays. So I tend to go for milder. Same with the curries. I don't have the fiery hot stuff anymore. just medium is fine with me. I'm happy with that. And of course, with my getting rid of carbs, I don't actually have rice with my curries and chilies anymore. I've just done away with that, the same as I've done away with potatoes. So it's one of the things that I live without now. And then once we've got everything all stirred in and all mixed up, then we add one of those and one of those. And these are packets of spices specifically designed to give the flavour. So it goes with the sauce, the combination of the two. It's also got quite a bit of thickeners in it, so it does thicken it up a bit. So that's everything that's going to go in it. Now it's just a matter of sequencing, getting it in there. The onions need to be virtually as cooked as I want them, and with a chilli I don't want them burnt. Now with a curry I always cook them until they catch. So once I start getting little brown bits on the ends of the onions, I sort of think, yep, they're cooked. But with a chilli I don't really want that tang. It seems to work well with a curry. And then what we do is we push all that to one side, like that, and then we chuck our meat in. So we've got what is basically a very hot pan, half of the pan. You see what I mean? Because the other half's still got the onions in. And they'll stay hot and carry on cooking. So we now add the mince. And I'm leaving that bit in there for Mojo's breakfast, because he loves mince, so that will go back in the fridge, and that will do for Mojo tomorrow. He loves his mince. When I do a shop, I actually buy a small pack of mince just for Mojo, and it does him 4 breakfasts. It's not his full breakfast, because he is a bit greedy in the mornings, and I'm happy for him to eat as much as he possibly wants. But at the moment he's eating well and he's still losing weight. So he is fading. I don't know how much longer we've got, but he is fading. Sad, but that's how it is if you have pets. Under normal circumstances they go before you do, which is why I doubt I will get another cat if Mojo goes, because it would make a fuss, because you know I'm getting on now, I'm coming up to 75. I don't know how much longer I've got, but if I get another cat I would love a kitten, you know, so that I can bring it up from scratch. But I might go before the kitten does, and then somebody else has got to deal with my cat, which I don't want to do. So let's just get that back in the fridge, not kick the tripod over. That's that. How are we doing? While we're talking of pets, if you buy a dog, I know a lot of people love their dogs, don't they? If you buy a dog, you've got to go very careful which dog you actually choose, because an awful lot of people buy Labradors and then they go blind. That one's a bit sick actually, on second thoughts. So apologies to any blind people, but I doubt if they're... You know what I nearly said then? I doubt if they're watching this. I doubt if they're listening to this. I don't know how you'd work, you know, things like YouTube, you know, it's all, well with me, it's all mouse and click and drag and drop and stuff like that. I'm not sure, is that even possible if you are hard of seeing? Is it even possible? I don't know. I mean, it's bad enough if you lose your sight, but I suppose if you're born that way you know no different, but to lose your sight halfway through your life must be devastating. I mean, my hearing is important to me, and is, despite playing in rock bands for quite a long part of my life and having huge big speakers stood behind me blasting me to Kingdom Come, my hearing is still incredibly sharp. Without my hearing, obviously you lose out on conversations, but you lose out on music. That would not be nice for me, not be nice at all. But to lose my sight, I've lost everything. I've lost my mobility, you know, can't drive, can't get out and about to any extent. It would all be a big deal. So perhaps we should all take a moment to be grateful for the things we've got while we've got them. Because as we get older, sometimes these things start to fade. Now, I mean, my eyesight's not perfect by any means, but it's fine with my glasses. My hearing is sharp, so I've still got all that. And I mean, there are people at the Orchid Society that can hardly hear anything. We've got one that does the auction, and he can't hear people calling out their bids. That's a good idea, isn't it? But this is what we have to live with. Getting old. I don't know who the hell said it, but it makes perfect sense to me. Getting old is not for sissies. Getting old is for the hardy. We all have to get there at some point. At some point we all do it. To one degree or another. This is the beans going in. As you can see, the actual volume is quite high. And that's the kidney beans. And then this is the black beans. I like the variety. I mean, sometimes I put a tin of baked beans in as well. And I may do that today, small tin of baked beans, and that would give me 3 different types of beans. I used to get a tin of mixed beans, 5 beans or something it was called, but there were 2 of them that I didn't actually like. And in amongst my chilli, every now and again I'd get one of those beans and go, ooh, I wish I hadn't put that in there. Right, so we'll stir that in. What we need to do now as well is get that heat down. We're about to put the sauces in. So as you can see, we're gradually getting quite full over here. And we're still on full heat, so we'll get that heat right down now as we put the sauces in. Because once the sauces go in, if the heat's too high, they stick to the bottom of the pan. You're not going to come out, are you? No. We shall put some water in there and give it a slosh around. Oh, that's a bit runnier, so the hot one was a bit thick. So that's our sauces. As you can see, we're gradually filling up the cauldron. You know what I'm thinking of now? 3 witches sat round the cauldron doing hubble bubble toil and trouble, or whatever the freaking thing is they say. So we're getting quite a cauldron full. There's nothing else to go in here now. The spices mixes, they don't add to the volume. They just sit on the top and thicken everything. So the only thing we have got to add is what I will do now is I will put a drop of water in each jar, give it a shake and wash all the sides off and get the last of the mix out. And then these will get rinsed and go to recycling. Our recycling at the moment, all of the glass goes in with the other recyclable stuff. We used to have a separate bin for glass so that it didn't get all mixed up with the other stuff. But it all goes in together now. But there are rumours that they might go back to the old ways and keep the glass separate. The problem being is if it's all mixed in together, by the time it's been chucked in the dustbin by us, and the dustbins are quite tall, you know, if you drop 3 or 4 bottles in, one of them could easily break. And then when they chuck it in the dust cart, you know, they empty the dustbin upside down and the bottles bash against each other and everything, and it'd be quite easy for them to break. And when they get to the recycling centre, all that stuff goes along a big conveyor belt and gets hand sorted. Now obviously those people have got gloves on, but a load of broken glass is adding to their woes, whereas it never used to, because it used to go separately. And I still think it was the silliest thing ever to stop the separate glass. It was strange. The first, I didn't know it was happening for a start, and my little bin with the glass went out with my dustbin and everything, and after the dust cart had been passed, a bit later in the day, I went out to retrieve my empty bins, and my glass bin was gone. I thought, somebody's nicked it. Who the hell would nick that, for goodness sake? Everybody's got one of their own. Why would you nick one? And there were some guys over the road talking, and I said, I don't suppose you saw who took my glass bin away? And they said, well, the council took them away. They're not doing it anymore. So as they've gone round, you know, they've emptied the glass and kept the bins. So we don't have any glass bins anymore. It's all got to go in with general recycling. But I thought somebody nicked mine because I didn't know that was coming. Brilliant. That was quite a long time ago. That was around the other house quite a long time ago now. But the problem is they've got all these recycling ideas, and you've got, in this country, we get terraces. You know, we get a row of houses all in a row like that. And all the bins have got to go at the front, because you're not going to drag them through your house, are you? So you know, the fronts of the houses look really untidy with all these dustbins everywhere. They don't stop and think about that. Every time they add another bin for a type of recycling or whatever, it's another eyesore in the front of your house, which is not good. I don't think it's very good at all. There was a time when you just had one dustbin and you didn't do anything. The dustbin men came in, took your bin, emptied it and put it back where they got it from. In the good old days. Right, so the last thing is to get these spice packs in with their appropriate thickeners. And it really does thicken everything up. And spice it up at the same time. It's basically, a lot of this is just red chili powder. Let's have a look. What does it say is in it then? Chili pepper. Well, yes, I would have thought that. Dried onions, cayenne pepper, white pepper, pepper. It's lots of peppers, which is understandable. But the main thing is the chili and the cayenne. Both quite hot pepper things. Scissors back in the man drawer. And then we just gently stir this in. And that is the cooking done. What we do now is we turn the heat right down. As soon as this comes up to temperature, it will start blooping. And once it starts blooping, the heat goes down as low as I can possibly get it. And I leave it for about 15-20 minutes to just infuse all these flavours together into all the ingredients. I could serve it and eat it now, but a lot of the individual flavours would still stand out as individual flavours. So instead of the kidney beans tasting like chili beans, they would taste like kidney beans. They wouldn't have that infused flavour. So the idea is really to cook it down so that everything tastes very similar of chili. So there we go. Now we just, it's on quite low at the moment, and it won't take long to get it back up to temperature. And then it will start blooping, and we need one of those and some of those to put it in once it's ready. Now we've cooked the onions, we don't need that, we don't need the light on. So there we go, that's a cooking video. I know some people love them, and some people wonder what on earth I'm doing, bearing in mind it's supposed to be an orchid channel. But some people like them. And for me, it's not really a problem sticking the camera up while I'm cooking. It doesn't stop me working and doing the cooking. Whereas some other things I do, like repotting, having the camera on actually slows me down. So there we go. What's my last joke written down here? I have to write them down now because I'm getting old and I'm forgetful. My sister has got really bad hay fever, and now on top of that she's got diabetes, so I went round the other day to cheer her up, you know, flowers, chocolates. You have to think these through, I'm not explaining them. Right, I'm done. That's now coming up to bloop stage, which means we knock the heat down as low as I can possibly get it without it going out, which is about there. And we leave that for sort of 15-20 minutes. So if you enjoyed that, it's probably sad, but some people do, and it's not a big effort for me to actually stick the camera on while I'm doing this sort of thing. And I chat along while I'm doing it. So although I'm doing a cooking video, I'm not necessarily talking about cooking. There's other things come along as we're going. So I've got some clearing up to do. Great. That's what I could do with somebody to do the clearing up. Oh, that's me, isn't it? Oh yeah. But it's not me today, it's me tomorrow. I don't cook and clear up. I cook and eat and relax. Tomorrow morning I clear up as such. So that's it. Hope you've sort of enjoyed that. It's something different. Quite a few people have said what they enjoy about this channel is the variety, and in some cases the unexpected, like this. If you're relatively new to the channel, you wouldn't have expected to see this, no doubt. But I do them now and again. Not frequently, because this type of cooking tends to be the same sort of thing. It used to be spaghetti bolognese, curry and chili. Well, I don't do the spaghetti bolognese anymore because it doesn't work very well without the actual spaghetti, and spaghetti's pasta, pasta's carbs. So I don't do that one very often now. And if I do it, I do like half the amount, so I haven't got quite so much to get through. Because the spaghetti itself, bolognese, without actual spaghetti with it, it just doesn't work. Whereas I'm quite happy to eat that without rice. And if Hannah's down and we decide to have a chili, I will do some rice for her and have a small amount myself and treat myself. But that's one of the things I cut out, was the rice. Rice, potatoes, bread, dairy. And I don't miss it that much. Do you know what I miss most? I miss my toast and marmalade for breakfast, but obviously I cut out bread. Cut out bread, you cut out butter. And you cut out marmalade, which is effectively nearly pure sugar, isn't it? So that was actually a major aid to my diet. So I now have a couple of eggs, alternating between some oaty biscuits. So one day a couple of eggs, one day some oaty biscuits, and that's my breakfast. And I like it, so we're okay. I will see you next time, probably in an orchid video. There won't be another cooking video for a long time, that's for sure. But who knows, something might pop up. I might do something different, like a fish meal or something like that. I don't think I've done one of those. We shall see. But in the meantime, back to the orchids. Bye for now. See you next time.